Here's a harsh truth for you founders and CEOs, especially the tech founders and tech CEOs, and that's your managers are quietly and aggressively setting your money on fire. The worst part of it all is that you probably don't even realize it's going on. And you don't realize it's going on because you're so down in the day-to-day operations doing the job of your managers without even thinking about it, that you don't realize that you should be spending the vast majority of your time on the strategic side and the growth side of your business, not in the day-to-day operations of it. Your managers should be dealing with the day-to-day operations in the trenches with those individual contributors, not you. Luckily, there are some things that you can do right now to stop those money leaks and to get your time back so that you're not stressing and you're not dealing with those operations, those managerial issues, and you can sit back and focus on the growth of your business and let your managers lead those teams in the trenches. And on this episode of the Libretti Leadership Lab, we're going to get into one of those things that you can incorporate right now that's going to stop those money leaks fast. So be sure to watch this whole video and take notes so that you can incorporate this immediately. And don't forget to stick to the end, because if you comment the word leadership, we'll give you a shout out in a future episode. Love you guys. Stay strong. All right, this is Libretti Leadership Lab number 18 with me, John Libretti. For those of you who don't know who I am, founder of SPEARHEAD Leadership, 14-year military veteran, intelligence officer in the Air Force, spent my time leading teams and training people how to effectively lead teams in the military, founded SPEARHEAD Leadership, and now we do that for your business, specifically on the tech business with tech founders and tech CEOs. We work with your struggling managers in the trenches with them on the day-to-day operations to turn them into skilled leaders. If you want to learn more, feel free to reach out to us. You can DM us on LinkedIn at SPEARHEAD Leadership. You can DM me on Instagram at _SPEARHEAD Leadership, or you can visit our website, www.spearheadleadership.co, and you can fill out the form and request, to speak with us there. One of the things I wanted to talk about, this is going to be sort of like a mini series on identifying and shutting down money leaks within your company, within your business, specifically ones that are being caused by your managers, your mid-level managers, due to either lack of experience or lack of quality leadership training and coaching. Now, most of the time, you hire a manager, you promote a manager based off of their high performance as an individual contributor. That's the predominant way people get promoted in businesses these days. I don't have necessarily a problem with that. That's not necessarily a bad way to go, but it's not the most thorough way to go. Okay, for a number of reasons that I'll get into very briefly here, and then we'll get into some of the tips and tricks on how to identify these money leaks and stop them right now. When you hire specifically and solely to high performers when it comes to your individual contributors, what you're doing is you're basing their ability to lead a team simply off of their ability to do a job. And let me repeat that for you guys. You're basing their ability to lead a team solely off of their ability to do a job. Okay? And as an individual contributor, they are doing a job, like an individually contributing role to the team, to the greater good of your organization. And that's great. But that does not mean that they're going to be able to lead a team of other individual contributors. More often than not, those high performers that you have on your team and your organizations don't have the leadership experience to be able to lead and manage a team. They've been just honing their skills and expertise at that IC level job. That's what most people do, and that's okay. But if you're not setting them up for success as a leader, as a manager, supervisor, whatever title you use in your business, you're setting your business up for failure in the long run. And most of the time, most of the time, CEOs and founders of businesses that are direct supervisors of these middle-level managers, They don't realize that that's the reason why they're not reaching their profit numbers for the quarter or for the annual growth that they're looking for or anything like that. And it's a constant struggle each quarter to meet these goals that you set for your company. It's more often than not because of that. So, like I said, I am not opposed to identifying high performers within your team as potential for leadership, roles in the business. But if you're going solely off of that, you're hurting your business in multiple ways in the long run. Okay. Another reason I just thought of right now, I just remember right now, if you're pulling your top performer in an IC role, an individual contributor role, out of that role to go be a manager and lead a team of people, they're no longer doing that role. Okay? You have to fill that spot with somebody who's going to be close to the capability as that top performer that you just promoted. That's a consideration. I'm not saying you shouldn't do it, but you have to consider that gap that you're creating by promoting that person up to a leadership role. You also have to find out if that person wants to be in a leadership role. It's a lot harder to train and coach a manager to be a leader of a team when they don't want to be the leader of the team. And in the tech world, we all know that a lot of times, the individual contributors want to stay in those IC roles. They want to stay as the software developers or hacking the ones and zeros or writing script or doing whatever it is that they're doing, systems engineers, whatever. They're in those roles because they like them and they're damn good at them. And sometimes the best thing to do for your business is to keep them doing what they're damn good at and hiring an outside hire to be the manager of a team. The second biggest issue I see, the most common issue when it comes to hiring or promoting managers, is that you don't have a quality leadership coaching or training structure, system, process, anything at all in place when you promote or hire those people into those roles. That's very common. If you ask many organizations out there, many founders, many CEOs, even HR departments, they're going to have at best a cookie cutter sort of on-the-job training hybrid to be a manager. They're going to teach you how to do the administrative work of that role, whatever paperwork needs to be done for that role that needs to go up to the further higher ups or to the HR departments. And they're going to give you a basic level kind of checkbox sort of training it's probably an online training from some organization that shows you, oh, this is how you communicate, this is how you lead people, this is how you watch over and make sure everyone's doing what they're doing. And it never sticks because it doesn't actually get into the weeds of your company's goals and your business's issues that need to be overcome and led through. And that's a big problem. And you have it in your budget. We spend this X amount of money each year on leadership training for our people, yet you don't see the fruits of that investment. That investment is there's zero return on investment, zero ROI on that, or very little at best, because that is not getting to the heart of your company's goals and your manager's specific issues that they want to and need to overcome. And all these things start to compound, and the snowball starts rolling down the hill real fast. The next thing you know, you're in the weeds. As a founder or CEO, you're the one who's actually doing all the work, and you're putting out the fires that your manager should be doing. You're in the day-to-day. You're spending 80% of your time on that, only 20% of the time on the growth of the company, and those numbers should be absolutely flipped. Then you're dealing with high performers who don't like the culture that is resulted in poor leadership. So they want out, so they leave. Now you got gaps to fill. You can't retain your talent, you got to go find it elsewhere. Now you're spending time and you're spending money recruiting, interviewing, hiring, and training and onboarding new employees to the company. And that's not just time and money you're losing there directly. You're also losing all that organizational wealth and knowledge from that individual performer who left, or that manager who left because they didn't want to manage and lead in the first place. They wanted to stay in their IC role. And you didn't take that into account. So you're constantly spending this time in the day-to-day, taking you away from the growth of your business. That's time and money lost. Your team is not performing at the efficient and rate that you're looking for to meet the standards that you're looking for each quarter and hit the goals. So you're losing time and money that way. And then with a poor culture, a poor work environment because of all that, you're losing talent and you're losing time and money filling those gaps on a constant basis. It's an average, I forgot exactly the number. We're talking $30,000 to $60,000 to replace talent on a regular basis, annual basis, per person. Okay? So imagine 3, 4, 5 people in your organization are leaving because of that poor work environment, or because they are put in a leadership position with no training and no support, and that whole figure it out for yourself like everybody else had to do in the past attitude, and now they're gone. This is thousands and thousands of dollars you're losing, and hours of your time, and even more money because of that you're losing, simply because you don't have either the promotion pipeline in place or the leadership coaching and training in place to set your managers up for success. Now, again, I said it earlier, I'll say it again. Luckily, you can take steps to stop this now. Okay? It's going to take a little time, obviously. And obviously that's what people like me are here for. So if you want the professional to come in and streamline this whole process and train your managers and turn them into skilled leaders, absolutely reach out. Absolutely reach out. You can DM us. I showed you all the links earlier. They're going to be below in the description section of this video on YouTube. Feel free to reach out. We can take care of all this. But in the meantime, to identify these leaks and at least duct tape them for now, we're going to go through a few different things that you can do, probably one per video here, so that you have time to take it all in, take notes, and incorporate that each at a time, because that's the most effective way to be able to incorporate these 3, 4, 5 things to identify and shut down these money leaks within your business. So with that, the first one I want to talk about on this episode is what I call the 5-minute manager rule. Okay, and it's very simple. It doesn't take a lot of time, and it's not going to take a lot of time to explain, but the difficulty here is that you have to do it. Okay, the difficulty with leadership in general, quality leadership in general, is not what you have to do, it's that you have to do it consistently in perpetuity. And that's what people are unable to do. That's why there's so few quality leaders out there these days. It's because it is a constant effort to learn, grow, and improve as a leader and to support your team. It's a constant effort. And there's always going to be uncontrollables, and there's always going to be hurdles, and there's always going to be times where we get in our own way of trying to be better leaders for our people and those around us. It's inevitable. We're human, okay? But remember, it's all simple stuff. If you maintain your consistency of effort, you will absolutely get where you need to go, okay? Now, the 5-minute manager rule, very simple. The principle is basically this. If you ask your manager for an update on their team, what they're doing, what they provided last week, what they're doing this week, what problems they're dealing with, what hurdles they're dealing with, and your manager can't answer that and provide you a synopsis of all that information in 5 minutes or less, that right there is identifying a potential money leak, okay? That right there is letting you know that your manager is not confident in providing that information quickly and effectively, direct and to the point, answering all the questions with the plan of action. And that means that they're probably not able to lead their team in a direct, efficient manner as well. That means they're not organized in their thoughts. Their team is likely not organized because of that. Because if they had their team organized with their accomplishments for the week prior, leading into what they're going to do this week based off of last week's accomplishments, and then what hurdles they're dealing with, and the plan to overcome those hurdles. If your team doesn't know that, then how are you supposed to actually reach the success you're looking for? How are you supposed to accomplish this stuff if you don't have that information, that plan of attack already in place? So if they can't explain that in 5 minutes or less, it's a weekly update. Okay, it's a piece of weekly information. All right, unless you're the president of the United States, you don't have more than 5 minutes worth of stuff to verbalize for a week's worth of tasks and goals that you're trying to achieve for a week. Realistically, you really don't. That's a separate conversation of itself that we could talk about, actually prioritizing tasks and time management and time maximization, because oftentimes that's another issue, is we think everything is a high priority. So you think you have 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12 things you have to do each day, each week, and really you should be focusing on 1 or 2 items at most to be actually productive. There are studies behind that. Again, that's a separate episode altogether we'll get into. But they should be able to explain to you what they delivered last week as a team, what their team delivered last week, what their team is working on right now for this week, and what obstacles are slowing them down, or what obstacles do they foresee possibly slowing them down. Pretty simple. It's a quick sync. It's a quick staff update. So if they're stumbling or rambling or they can't give them a clear answer, then it's time for you to sit them down. Okay? It's time for you as the founder and CEO to sit them down, 15-minute conversation with them. You 15 minutes sit down. This is sort of a training feedback session, if you will, that you're going to have with them. Okay? And you're going to provide that clarity to them. You're going to show them what you're looking for in the future for these updates. Okay? You're going to structure the updates. You're going to structure the expectation to them, so you're going to effectively communicate out what you expect of them each week or each month or whatever timeline you're choosing. Okay? And then you're going to build the structure off of those expectations, and you're going to send them on their way with clear and concise and quality understanding of what they should be caring about for their team each and every week, or whatever timeline you're giving them. Okay? This makes your conversations more predictable now. So now when you have the 5-minute conversation in the future, they know you know what to expect from them. They know what they should be providing you already. They don't have to guess. They don't have to sit there and scramble and mumble and fumble with their words. You don't have to guess. I'm like, let's see what this guy has to offer today. You already had the conversation. You already had the training. You provided him that guidance and feedback, that leadership guidance and feedback. Hey, this is the update. This is the synopsis I'm looking for each week. Should take me no more than 5 minutes. And this becomes one of those things where your manager will start to prepare ahead of time each week with their team. So it doesn't just become, the focus is not just on, let me have this information to provide to my CEO each week. It's, let me get my team set up with this information each week and this plan of attack, and get them off and running on this plan so that we can knock out our goals each week. And then I'll be able to tell the CEO, hey boss, this is what we did last week. This is all the good shit we did last week. This is all the good stuff we're doing this week. These are the hurdles we're dealing with, but this is the plan that we have in place to overcome those hurdles. Any questions? That's it. Okay? And there should be no confusion from them or you on whether this is micromanaging, whether this is a waste of time. This should be an email we don't want to waste the time of our team, of our people by setting up these long staff meetings and updates on a regular basis that do nothing but waste time that could absolutely be an email. And this could eventually become a quick email. Again, to make sure to get all your ducks in the row with your managers, make sure that they have a continued quality grasp of the overarching goals and strategy of the company, and that they're moving out in a direction that's going to lead to that strategy being achieved, that those goals being achieved. But to start out, you want to have the in-person conversation with your manager. You want to find out where they're at, so you know how far you need to work with them to get them where you need them to go. And like I said, it's a very simple, very quick thing that you can do with all your managers. You could probably have this done with all your managers in a day, depending on how many managers you have. I'd say if you have more than 5 to 10 managers, probably don't want to cram all this stuff in a day. It's a little exhausting. But this is a simple and effective way to first gauge your manager's awareness and understanding of his or her team and where they should be going, the goals they should be accomplishing as a team as they relate to the overarching goals of the organization. And it gives you the opportunity to train and mentor and provide the resources and support to your manager to get them to that understanding if they don't have it. And that right there, that simple exercise, that simple mentorship and feedback loop that you've just created now with that manager is going to save you loads of time and money in the future. Because guess what? Now you don't have to spend at least at least hours each week with that manager's team because they're struggling, because their manager doesn't have a grasp of what they're supposed to be doing and how to get through it. You set them up for success in the future. You're saving yourself time and money in the future because you are investing a small amount of time and effort into your managers right then and there. Now, again, if you really want to set them up for success and turn them from struggling, inexperienced managers who were once high performers, but now they're in a world that they're not familiar with in the leadership space, if you want to turn them from those struggling managers into skilled leaders and you don't want to have to do it yourself, you want to be able to going back to focusing on the 80%, the growth and strategy of your business, the up and out, give us a call. That's what I do. I get in the trenches with your managers. I will work with them to train and coach them to be better, more skilled leaders for their team to accomplish those big goals so that you can continue focusing on new goals and new growth objectives for your business. Basically being able to do your job as the founder and CEO. That's what you should be focusing on as a founder or CEO. Up and out. You've heard that saying a billion times. Don't work in your business, work on your business. This is how you're going to get out of the trenches of your business so you can work on it, by setting your managers up for success as leaders. And if you don't have the time, or if you don't have the skill set necessary to train them, again, you're a CEO, you're a founder. You're not a leadership coach per se. No one's expecting you to be. So the best thing that you can probably do for your team is invest a little bit up front for a professional to come in to train them to be absolute savages in the leadership game so that you can focus on what you're a savage at, what you're extremely skilled and experienced at. That way it's a win-win for everybody. Your managers get the quality, in-depth training they need to be better leaders for your team. You're retaining talent better that way. And you don't have to spend your time doing something that you're not supposed to be doing. You're not trained to do this. You don't want to do this. You're not a leadership trainer. You're a CEO. You're a founder of a business. So you will get to do that. You'll get to be a quality savage CEO. So give us a call. But the 5-minute manager rule, that's a great Band-Aid fix to assess the situation, identify a potential leak, and being able to put a stop to it right away before it turns into an absolute flood. So with that, stay tuned for more. We're going to have the next discussion is what I call Red Flag Week, which is another very, very simple thing to do to identify leaks and issues going on with your managers and your teams and your business. And we're gonna discuss how to walk through all that, how to be able to have a quality Red Flag Week or quality audit of what's going on, and then to plug those holes appropriately. This one's a little bit more uncomfortable for your managers, but it is an absolute game changer when it comes to stopping those leaks, those money and time leaks, and getting them back to leading their teams so that you can get back to being a CEO and a founder. So before we go, though, very quickly, I always like to end these episodes with the big three. It's the 3 pillars to staying strong, being a better, happier, kinder, healthier, less stressed, more genuine human being, and a better leader overall in life. They're part of my personal core values. They're part of Spearhead Leadership's organizational core values. And they're the simplest 3 things that you can do at a baseline level to become a better leader overall in life. Number 1, exercise every day. Do one thing each and every day to improve and focus on your fitness, health, and wellness, physically, mentally, or emotionally. So whether it's an actual physical workout at a gym or calisthenics at home, or you're breaking that mental sweat, you're learning a new language, you're doing crossword puzzles, you're reading a book, whatever it is, or the emotional side, meditation, praying, breath work, what have you. That's spiritual fitness. Exercise every day. Number 2, probably the hardest one to do, is don't be a shitty, negative person, be a kind person. And you can do this in the most simplest way to start doing this is to, when the opportunity arises to be negative towards somebody, to be crappy towards them, even if they deserve it, or just to be negative in general, when you start feeling those negative emotions of anger and rage and sadness and what have you, take a deep breath, take a step back, detach from those negative emotions, and just remove yourself from the situation. So if somebody posts something inflammatory online and you want to take a jab and show them how wrong and stupid they are, take that step back. Detach yourself from those negative emotions and just put your phone down or close your laptop or walk away if somebody's talking to you poorly in person. Get yourself out of the negative. Even if somebody deserves a quick jab or a retort towards them, all you're doing by replying in that way is you're adding more negativity to the situation and to the world around you. And the more we live in the negative, the worse we are in the long run as human beings. But in the heat of the moment, it is definitely the hardest thing to do because you're so emotionally charged up. You're not even thinking clearly or logically. You're just thinking with, got to get this person back. I understand. It's a thing I struggle with and deal with on a daily basis. But if you are able to remove yourself from those situations, now you're minimizing the negativity in the world around you, and you're allowing yourself the capacity to go focus on more positive, productive things in your lives, like exercising. Number 3, the most important one, be genuinely thankful and grateful for all the good you have in your lives. And you can do this actively because it's very easy to say, I'm grateful for everything, without actually feeling the gratitude. So to actually feel the gratitude each and every day, take a few seconds to actively think about one good thing in your life or one good thing that happened to you in the last 24 hours. And then think about what your life would be like without that thing. How much worse your life would be if that thing never happened to you in the last 24 hours or whatever is going on. Right then and there, for that few seconds, that'll put you in the state of gratitude. And then you start doing that a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more each and every day, so that more of your day is spent in gratitude as opposed to taking things for granted. And the more you spend your day and your mindset in gratitude, the easier it's going to be to not be that negative, shitty, crummy person, and to be a kind person, and to remove yourself from those negative situations. And then the more opportunity now you'll have to go focus on more positive, productive things like exercising. So if you do those three things a little bit each and every day, repetition, 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 I promise you, you'll be a better, happier, kinder, healthier, less stressed, more genuine human being, and you'll be a better leader overall in life. Thank you guys again for tuning in. Again, don't forget to like and subscribe, put your notifications on. If you got any value out of this video, leave a comment in the comments at the bottom of the YouTube here. If you have any questions, if you have any pushback, if you disagree with anything, put it all in the comments. If you have any topics that you want to hear more about on the leadership side, leave it in the comments, or you can feel free to DM us on Instagram or through the website, spearheadleadership.co. We're here for you guys. This is what the show, the Libretti Leadership Lab, is here for you, to help you become a better leader in your business, in your relationships, in your life. So if there's something you have a question about that you're looking for help on, or a situation you're dealing with at work, let us know, and we'll get with you. We'll make a video on it. We'll do an episode, whatever it takes. Thank you guys again for tuning in and for enjoying this. And again, if you leave the comment leadership at the bottom here, we'll give you a shout out in a future episode of the Libretti Leadership Lab. Thank you again. Love you guys. Libretti.